So I want to show you a technique today that I think is quite invaluable if you are either in a rush or if you're touching up your makeup throughout the day and you're going out for dinner, or if you just like that coming from within look from your bronzers and blushes and things like that. So keep watching. So right now, all that I have on my face is a little bit of cream bronzer and a little bit of my new blush that's coming soon from KJH brand. This is like a raisiny kind of colour that's like a warm, but not overly warm kind of nude. This is it. And I'm going to do the majority of my makeup with the intention of doing my concealer as the very, very, very last step. Doing a tiny bit of brow gel. This is a Benefit brow gel and it's kind of like a blondie shade. It's number 1. It's the lightest, I believe. And I like it because it's just giving me a slight brow tint effect. I'm going to do lip liner next. This is something that I'm working on developing for KJH brand. And so I don't have any link or anything for this because it's not a product just yet. So I'm just sort of going to define the lip edge with this. And then I'm going to fill in my brow. Okay, I'm very excited about what's to come. And while I've got no complexion on, I'm actually going to do a few freckles. My friend Liv told me about this and she was like, I like putting on my freckles before a little concealer and then also a little after perhaps, because it looks more natural, and I totally agree. So we're just doing a few of these just first. That one needs to be blended a bit more. And then eyebrows. So I've been using, and I'm traveling with, the Bodyography pen. There's 2 new shades. I'm not sure if they're out yet, so I might have just broke an embargo. But there's a light, there's a taupe and there's a blonde. I think this is the blonde. And so I'm just sort of going into where I've got some natural hairs and just elongating the shape where my brow sort of slenders off, just to build a little bit more fullness across the shaft of my eyebrow. So I didn't travel with a compact mirror, so I'm using my phone for everything. I need to buy a little compact today while I'm out and about, which is gonna be fine. But I'm like, when I pack for a trip, sometimes I stress pack and I forget what I'm packing and I'm just throwing things in a bag with makeup because I know that I can make do with a lot of stuff. I can make whatever work. Like I packed a red lipstick exclusively for like the use of like boosting colours, not so much to wear a red lipstick. I'll actually show you what I mean by that. So like this red lipstick, if I wanted to, I can take the tiniest little dot of it, literally nothing, and I can add it to the centre of my lip to boost my colour. I can also add it to the centre of my cheek to boost my colour. So a really high pigmented lipstick when you're travelling will literally expand your makeup wardrobe tenfold. So it's really important when you're doing this technique of getting everything on before concealer that you like the way it looks even without concealer. I don't mind the way this looks without concealer. I just want concealer to help me contrast and blend things a little bit better. And so I'm going to use a tiny bit of this, which I'm traveling with, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills concealer. It's very full coverage, Magic Touch Concealer number 9. And I'm going to put it into the palm of my hand, just a doe foot amount, but that actually would do my entire face if I wanted to. It's an amazing, amazing concealer. And then I'm going to use this brush, which I traveled with, which is my KJH number 10 from Spectrum collab, blending it into the brush really, really thoroughly. Some people might consider this as wasting product. I do not consider it wasting product. When do we ever finish a full tube of anything? And like even with a concealer, you can't even get around the edges, just scrape out the excess. It's not wastage if your makeup looks amazing. So I would rather my makeup look amazing and me waste a little bit more product than usual if that makes you happy, as far as the sort of theory behind this technique. So priming the brush is something that I've been doing for a long time. And so many people that have tried it have told me that it works so well for them. And this is exactly it. So basically by getting the product into the brush first and then stippling that product and just sort of saturating areas with what's in the brush, you see, I don't even really need to blend it in because the brush, having it sort of not sitting in the surface of the bristles, means that the more that you just sort of delicately buff and apply to those parts of the face, it's doing the concealing for you and you don't have to blend it in. You're not having to like sit there and be like, oh, I missed a bit, or oh, this, because the brush does everything for you. And that step is your blend. You're blending before you even apply it to the face. So I definitely suggest you giving it a try. This doesn't typically work with solid cream products. This only works with liquids or like cream. Like I wouldn't do it with like a, what's it called? Like a NARS in the jar. I wouldn't do it with products that are solid in a jar. I would do it with anything that's got like glide and anything that moves, because otherwise it's kind of pointless. I would do it with like a Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate, which is a solid cream because it's quite glossy. So I would do it with anything that's got slip and shine, but I wouldn't do it with anything that's matte and solid. Do you know what I mean? I would maybe do it with Glossier Stretch Concealer, but I wouldn't do it with the NARS concealer. So now I'm just sort of using this brush to just feather around any of the details that I just applied around the eyes, around the nose, sorry for that. And then you can use it to, and then you can also go back to the hand whenever you want to pick up a little bit more product, or you can simply take a little bit more out of the tube of concealer and keep going that way. But I technically now have on a full coverage type of base, but it looks like skin and it blended easily and it took 2 minutes or less. This works really well with like liquid foundations that are full of coverage, works really well. I wouldn't typically do this with like maybe a sheer skin tint, because that is, in my opinion, wasting of product. So you really just have to sort of assess in which you want to do it with, but it works so well with fuller coverage products that are in a liquid or a cream form, but not a solid matte cream form. That said, if what I just said, if any of those products I just said you've been doing this with and it works for you, then keep doing it. I'm going to use a little bit of this Sephora Collection Pink Flash Luminizer. I love this. It gives like a little sort of wash of pink lavenderness to the face. See that it's got like that little pearl. You can sort of see that it's got like a shift. It's gorgeous. Sephora Collection has some bangers, and this is one of them. All right, and then I'm going to do a tiny bit of eye. I love this in the mouth as well. Watch. You see? I'm going to do a little bit of Cupid's Arrow in Cappuccino from Nabla, and I'm just going to go all over the lid with this and blend it straight away with the Persona brush that is called the Apply and Blend brush. I'm just using the smaller side. When anything is dense on the lid, cream, pigments or colours, you want a denser brush to blend it with. You don't want to blend it with something like that because it won't move as easily. So you want to blend it first with the firmer side if you have a firm brush, and then you want to finish the blend with the looser side to just sort of get it a little bit more smooth. Essentially, the thicker the product and the denser the formula, the thicker and denser the brush can be. I'm just popping that there, blending it further up with the big brush. A little under the eye as well, blending that in. And then whenever you add something else, like around the eye, because I went in with eyeshadow after I did my concealer, I just want to go back in with my concealer shade and just further boost. I didn't pick up any more product. I'm literally just using what's in the brush. All right, I'm going to do some mascara. This is Levitation Lash by Rituel de Fille. I love this mascara. My other favourite mascaras are Tower 28 Make Waves, and I actually really like Lash Clash from YSL. And I'm just boosting my blush stick a little bit more by picking up some on a brush and then just transferring it across the cheek. I know I even have powder on here, but it's not going to affect it too much. And I'm just going to take it into the temples a little bit. So this colour for KGH brand, it's going to be called Raisin, is going to be a perfect shade for pale, fair skin that of people that don't typically find a bronzer that they like, or don't even like bronzer on themselves, because it's kind of a bronzy, neutral, peachy, beigey raisin colour. Like, I'm going to put it on the back of my hand just so that you can see it properly. So it's like, it looks a bit reddish here, but then when you shear it right down, do you know what I'm saying? It's gorgeous. All right, my last little step is a tiny bit of powder just in the T-zone, just there to help keep everything locked in. And I'm actually going to sample a setting spray today because I am sort of toying with longevity things. This is the NYX Mattifying Matte Finish 16-hour wear setting spray. And I'm not really a setting spray person, but we're going to try it and see if it makes any difference to the longevity of my makeup. Okay. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, bye.